Hi everyone, it's Anshana. Hope everyone's doing well. Today I want to speak about acceleration and deceleration. I'm assuming we're all pretty familiar with the concept because we're from either real day trading or the 1OP community or one option. But if you're not from either, that's okay. Welcome. If you don't know the concept of acceleration and deceleration, you're in luck because I'm going to be explaining pretty much all of it. But before that, I'd like to explain to you how I view the market and how I view price action in general. It's going to be useful later. I view price action as bid and ask, buyers versus sellers. If the price moves higher, buyers are moving towards the ask because they're interested. On the contrary, if the stock moves lower, the price gets closer and closer to the bid. Buyers are interested, and this time sellers are engaged and are driving the stock down. It's a game of imbalance, having the balance tilt in one particular direction more than the other, buyers or sellers. So, I have this drawing here that I made myself to illustrate what acceleration and deceleration looks like on a chart. I drew about 6 candles of different size with different wicks and tails, all telling a particular story. But you should focus more on the wicks. The wicks are the little line at the top and the tails are the little line at the bottom. There is one candle that has no wicks, but that's okay. I'm going to be explaining why. In the first one, we can see an imbalance with a bias towards buyers, of course, because it's a green candle. Other than the candle being green, we can see on both the tail and the wick on the candle that both sides are being pushed pretty much equally. Of course, the sellers are being pushed more because it's a green candle. On the second candle, you can see that the body is slightly larger than the previous candle. Volume is picking up, buyers are more interested. The wicks are smaller, or more simply, there's acceleration going. I didn't draw the volume because you can picture it in your head, of course. The wicks are smaller than they were on the previous candle again. So if you compare the size of these two, this one is smaller. That means that there's less resistance from sellers, meaning they can't push the stock down as much as they were able to in the last candle on this one. On the contrary, the tail is much larger, signifying that buyers are putting up a very good fight against sellers and effortlessly pushing them back, as we can see from the larger body this candle has from the previous candle. Now we get to the third candle. The third candle is the height of the acceleration. Here, the candle is significantly larger than both preceding candle. There is no wick to this candle. The closing price is the height of the candle, meaning that buyers are very engaged and sellers are simply powerless against them. They're absolutely unable to push them back. So this is the height of the acceleration. These 3 candles cover acceleration. These 3 will cover deceleration. So you have our first deceleration candle, the fourth one. You can see that the body becomes smaller than the last candle, but more important than that, you can see a small imbalance form. Remember when I was talking about imbalance? The size of the wick is now larger than the size of the tail. So what does that mean? It means that sellers are starting to fight back more aggressively. They're suppressing buyers that are trying to move this candle up. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the sellers are still losing, but they're gaining more and more terrain. So you don't want to see too many of these in a row. The tail doesn't matter on this one. The tail absolutely does not matter. They don't matter on any of them actually. I just drew them because a candle without tail is weird. So on the fifth candle, the body is even smaller and the wick is getting bigger. The buyers are more and more suppressed. It's affecting the candle size and the wick is proof that sellers are there. Overall, there's not much to say about this candle. I'm pretty sure you got the point. On the fifth candle, the body is extremely small. Assuming this was part of XYZ's candle history, the stock made a new high. But because of the larger wick and the larger tail, it's no longer possible to theorize on which way the candle is going to come next, because there's an equilibrium or a balance on both the buyer sides and the seller sides, as shown by the tail and the wicks being the same size. So now, with the nice little run up before the doji, the possibility is more skewed towards the buyer sides. But with the equilibrium in place on this candle, it's better to sell your long position than to risk your hard-earned profit. And you can always re-enter later at a more safer entry when you have good confirmation. So next, I actually have a few stock I want to show you. First one is Rivian at around 1025. This is a different type of acceleration than the one I showed you. It starts off strong and it gradually becomes weaker. If therefore it starts at its strongest on this chart, I believe the entry point and exit point are fairly easy to identify. Leave a comment and I'll tell you if you're right. No need to get the time exact. There's approximately 7 candles. So it starts off with a big body and it slowly dies off. So it's like a fire starting very strong and then slowly dying off. You get the point. So next one is Walmart at around 1255. Now I'm gonna have to do to look for that one a little bit. 1255. Okay, right here. $12.55 right here. So this is textbook. See, this is the same type of acceleration as I've shown you on my drawing, but this time with an added nice little green solo candle, which is probably just profit taking. As you can see, before it reverses, the tails are becoming larger and larger, meaning that the buyers are being pushed back. That the sellers are being pushed back, sorry. I'm gonna leave it up there a few seconds if you wanna take a look at it. There you go. You can see it better here. Okay, so this is pretty much it. I hope you learned something. Let me know, and I'll see you guys another time. Thank you.